Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Watch. My name is Helen Herimbi, and this is my stress pimple. So I think it came right on time because today we are going to be talking about stress and depression and anxiety and managing all of that during this lockdown. I will have to say, though, that this is our new normal and we are trying to get everybody online, and sometimes the network doesn't play ball with us. So I apologize in advance for anything not being smooth or you not being able to hear people properly. But I am very excited about today's episode. We talked to Anesu Mbiju, who is a yogi and co-founder of the Nest Space, and she's also a medical doctor. We also talked to the coach with the killer workouts, Juanita Kumalo, who is also the founder of Trove Wellness. And then also we are joined by Zuchi Coke Dope, who is one of the musicians who basically wears his heart on his sleeve, and he puts it all in his beats as well. So I'm very excited about this episode, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me, finding time in your busy lockdown schedule for joining me today. How has lockdown been treating you?
I don't mind speaking first. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I sometimes find myself not thinking about it too intensely because when I do, it feels like I'm in a dream or in a movie. So I think my mind is still trying to wrap its head around this being our reality at the moment. And just trying to find the positives throughout it all, I guess.
And this is why we're here. Me and my stress pimple are here to find the positives in this lockdown. Zuchi, how has the lockdown been treating you?
I think this, for me, it's literally how I've been living my life for the past 10 years. And the only different thing is that everybody's joining me now.
We don't want to join you. Juanita,
Complaining.
how has lockdown been for you?
Lockdown has been a little bit stressful, also mainly because of the fact that, the important part about lockdown is keeping safe and keeping sane and keeping fit. And when we were told about the lockdown, my videographer and I had to literally try and squeeze recording 20 videos in 2 days in the midst of all the other things that yes. So that, because also the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture and Recreation contacted me to also do that, create content, and a couple other people, so that we uplift people's spirits during this time. Obviously, everyone's online, everyone's on social media, Twitter, Instagram. People are going live. People need content to consume. So it was trying to see what we can bring different, so that people don't focus so much on the corona negativity. Because right now, when you tune onto any platform, it's just about corona pandemic. And in as much as it's great to spread awareness and updates about it, it's also very negative energy, which if you're not conscious about it, you're allowing it without even realizing to filter into your mind, filter into your brain, causing you anxiety, stress, and just it's just been a lot. But trying to navigate it so far has been okay. My end personally, I experienced cabin fever for the first time yesterday. I want my normal life back. I was just like, I'm tired of this bullshit. I want my normal life back. But we're doing the bare minimum, what I can, kind of make sure I keep my sanity, because I do suffer from anxiety and depression. So for me, being in the same place, your mental health and well-being will be compromised because you're not used to, or you're not in routine to what you normally do to keep yourself sane.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you touched on that, because this episode is about looking out for each other when it comes to your mental and your physical health as well. And speaking about anxiety and depression, what are the things that you are doing at the moment, especially because you have Trove Wellness? Are you drawing anything from your treasure trove to kind of help you with your depression and anxiety at the moment?
So what I have been doing is that I've made sure that every single morning without fail, I do my workouts. I go live every morning. This has been helpful. Not only does it hold me accountable, it also holds other women accountable. Because truth be told, exercising by yourself at home is boring, guys. There's no one to keep to push you. It's just not the same. So I've been having live workouts every single morning, Monday to Friday, for the 21 days, for the coming 21 days, and then after that, I practice meditation with my quarantine partner for like 10 minutes, and then meditation, and I hop into breakfast. Basically, I'm trying to eat still very healthy, inverted commas. Of course, the fact that you are quarantined means that you eat a lot more. Your trips to the fridge are a lot more.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to manage that percent kind of like relatively good, 30% indulge in the cookies or whatever it is. So I've kind of like had to create a routine as well. It's still a work in progress because I
Yeah.
wanted to factor in reading time. I haven't done that this week, so it's my goal for next week now to ensure that 1 hour minimum in a day I'm reading. And also work has been a little bit more crazy as well, like I said, because now as a hot influencer media, brands cut their campaigns, budgets have been cut. The plans that they had to be cut because of the pandemic. So they're all going online, digital.
Yeah.
So even time that's content, but influencer now the time for them to be more creative because that's where you're going to be earning the more money or trying to make an income through that. So it's just about also work, trying to start to re-strategize things because clearly
I think Juanita is cutting
like
off a little bit there. So while we wait for her to come back, Zuchi, I wanted to specifically have you on this call because you've been super vocal about anxiety. Your album is called Anxiety, right? And you open the album with this whole speech about like how, it's a safe space and people must feel free to express themselves. And I'm just wondering if somebody's watching this and they don't know what anxiety is, what does it feel like? What does it feel like for you? How would you describe it?
I'd say it's a overwhelming
I'm
feeling.
gonna need you, Zuchi, to like speak up a little bit more so that I can actually hear you.
You can't hear me? You can't hear me right now?
I can hear you a little bit better now.
Okay. Anxiety is when you overthink
Yeah.
about something that's not so pleasant, and your heart races, and your the way you feel feels like it's happening as you think about it.
Yeah.
I think that's my perfect description of anxiety. Like you overthink so much about something, it actually feels like it's happening when it's not.
Yeah.
And you, I
So
guess, feel the emotional impact of it if it would happen, even though it's not happening.
yeah. So now that we have joined you in your lifestyle,
Uh-huh.
has this been kind of a normal time for you, or do you feel like your anxiety is flaring up a lot more now that there's all this talk about this pandemic?
No, I think the only difference is I just can't go to the shops when I want to now. But
Yeah.
as far as it being different and it like being on a different level now, it's just everything is the same. I'm always working, making music, and
Yeah.
now clients coming in and out, but it's just all the same.
They can't come to your house, Zuchi. People must
I
stay
know
at home.
it's stopping
This
work.
guy. Okay?
It's stopping my work.
You know what? We must listen to our president. So I'm going to move from you, okay? Because everyone's supposed to stay at home. Anesu, I think one of the interesting things about your experience is that you're an actual medical doctor and you're an actual yogi. And often people think that the two worlds can't be one world. So at this time where people are like, no, let's listen to the science. Let's just do what the medical people tell us to do. How can people also bring in yoga into that?
Yeah, to me, the two are the same, really. Just kind of seeing health from a different lens. So I kind of see it as, whenever I'm looking at a situation, I either have my yogi glasses on or my doctor glasses on. And it just slightly changes the way that you see what you're looking at, but at the same time, you're looking at the same thing. So for me, it's actually been really helpful to be on both sides of the coin, because my medical background has helped me advise family. I've had a lot of friends who called me freaking out, thinking that they have the coronavirus. I had one friend actually who called me and was explaining that she had pain in her chest, and she was worried that she had coronavirus. And the more we spoke, the more we realized that actually that pain in her chest was a manifestation of her anxiety. And I love what he was saying about the way that anxiety feels, because strangely, our minds and our bodies are linked in such a way that it's difficult to understand what's coming first. It's difficult to understand whether you're sick and now you're feeling anxious because you're sick, or whether you're anxious and your anxiety is now making you sick, So I think being able to look at things from both perspectives and to be like, no, you know what, if I think about this pain is generally there when I'm watching the news, for example, or this pain appears when I'm watching social media. That kind of gives more of a picture of where those symptoms could be coming from. So I found it very, very useful to have both sides.
Yeah. And so would you say then that yoga is the cure for everything?
No. I think combining everything is the cure for everything. I think I've gone through quite a journey in terms of my spirituality and in terms of my health, diet, all of that stuff. And the one takeaway that I've come to is that if you take what works for you from many different philosophies and create a lifestyle that works personally for you, then that's the way you should be following, or the path you should be following. As opposed to following a path because somebody says you should, meanwhile you know that some parts of it don't agree with you or don't agree with the way that you feel.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's been some word that the cases of gender-based violence have actually spiked in this lockdown. And my question is then, like, if you are in lockdown with somebody that you can't get away from, what can you do from a physical point of view, from a mental point of view, and even from like a physical yoga sense? And the question is to the three of you guys, what can you do to kind of help yourself take care of yourself if you are in this gender-based violence situation and you can't actually get out at the moment? Zuchi, you got your hand up, so you can go first.
Personally, I don't think there's anyone you can't get away from. One.
Yeah.
And it's usually a thing of it's become that way in your thinking because of what's happening, and how you are victimized to think that. But essentially, like in all honesty, there's no one you can't get away from.
Okay.
If you're gonna be literal about what we're talking about, then I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
You're stuck with someone you can't get away from.
No, I hear you. I think that people would disagree with that, though. Like it's not as easy for everyone to leave.
That's what I'm saying. It's based on other things why they don't leave. But if you're going to be literal about it and say you can't get away from someone, that's not true. I think we should rather encourage people
to leave.
To leave, even if it is scary and it seems like there's nothing else for you. I think we should encourage them to leave instead of saying or giving them, tips on how they can deal with it. I think anyone can leave any situation. It's just we need to let them know that it's okay, even if you feel like there's nothing else for you on the other side. You'll be surprised, or it's actually that person is not your everything, or that person you don't need to be dependent on them so much because there are other people that care about you. But to give coping mechanisms to something that's not entirely true, I don't think that's the right thing to do.
Okay, I hear you, but I think I'm going to come to you now, Anesu. I'm speaking more from a sense of right now people are in lockdown, right? And people are supposed to be staying in one place. And maybe the person is going to be able to leave, and maybe the person can go to a shelter. I know that the government has put out word that there are shelters that people can go to. But if you can't leave right this second, what can you do? That's what I meant. So Anesu, do you have something to add?
I think Zuchi's right that it's physically possible to leave everybody. But often I think we'll find with a lot of mental illness, the barrier is not the physicality of you being able to leave or not. It's like you're saying, Zuchi, it's about your mindset and what's going on in the mind. I think for me, when it comes to personal trauma of any type, whether it's, and trauma can be you hurting somebody else, so this can even be talking about the abuser in the situation, right? Inflicting the harm on the person who's being abused. I think it's all about trying to figure out where that comes from. What is the root cause? So you trace what I tend to do when I'm feeling an emotion or I'm feeling, upset, angry, or anxious. First, I focus on the emotion. So I say, okay, what emotion am I feeling right now? Usually it's quite easy to give that emotion a name, like fear, anxiety, anger. Overwhelm is a huge one that I often feel, where it's like, well, I don't even know what I'm feeling, but it's nothing good. So you figure out what the emotion is, you give it a name, and then I always say to myself that the me, myself, am separate to the emotion. So there's me and there's the emotion, and I can feel the emotion without being carried away by the emotion and going crazy by it. So I can observe it. And I think if you're in a situation where you're being abused or you're abusing somebody else, in both cases, figure out what emotion you're feeling, tap into that emotion, and once you go beyond feeling the emotion, you can begin to question why it is that emotion has arisen. Is it triggering a past experience? Sometimes abusers abuse because they've been abused themselves. So maybe the situation that you're in is triggering a past abuse, that kind of thing. And once you're able to see the root cause, you can then do the work to fix it. So I would say to anybody who's experiencing something like that, practically, if you are able to leave, try to go to a friend or family member who's low risk, so somebody who's not elderly, somebody who's not sick, generally somebody who you've also been engaging with in like the past 3 weeks, so before lockdown, the type of people who you were with anyway, because then you generally your risk profile is the same, so you're not putting them at risk by going to go and see them. So pick out somebody like that, and then after you're in a safe environment, a shelter, or at a friend or a loved one's home, use this lockdown period to understand why, if you're abusing somebody, why that's the case, or if you're being abused, why you're allowing that to happen and why you're in that victim mentality.
Yeah. Zuchi?
And also, there's actually a hotline, because we obviously stay in a country where gender-based violence is a real problem. And I remember when lockdown was starting, I was watching something on the internet about some of the announcements that were being made, like what does lockdown mean?
Yeah.
And I think it was Baby Bear that he was talking, and he said there's actually a hotline for
That's the number that's been called thousands of times in this lockdown. So we're going to put up the number anyway for everyone. Pardon?
He said that's the number that's been called 1,000 times.
Thousands of times.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't want to say a figure and then get it wrong, but we will make sure that we put up the number. Is it helping people?
People being helped, yeah.
I assume so, because the message did come from the government. But because we are going to run out of time a little bit, I do want to get back to those of us who are maybe still feeling a little bit overwhelmed and feeling anxious and feeling like, yes, they've said we can go out jogging on your own, but it's not the same as working out in the gym. So maybe Juanita, you can let us know what are like the two things that one can use in their house to start working out and still keep themselves healthy and sane.
Cool. Change the rule and start jogging alone. I think, is it bad?
Yes. But you can start again. Maybe now it's a little bit better.
Okay. I was saying that I'm actually not aware that they relax the I think like it's great, but I still wouldn't advise it if you are a woman. Let's not be.
Ooh, Juanita, I'm gonna have to pause you.
And the problem is there's less people.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to pause, Juanita, because yeah, the line is really, really bad. But maybe Anesu, before we get out of here, I wanted you to
Even
see maybe.
now,
Ooh, it's still bad. Anesu, maybe
it's
you can
even
share.
bad now. Pardon?
Okay, can you hear us? Because we're struggling to hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna try something. Do you want to take the question to someone?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Anesu to maybe talk about the new moon ceremony that your company, the Nest Space, just had everybody partake in. Maybe first explain what a new moon ceremony is for those people who are watching and have no idea. And also, can you tell us where we are right now and how that's reflected in what's happening in the cosmos?
Yeah. So I'm a little bit of a, I don't know, like a modern age hippie, I'd say, when it comes to these things, because I don't know, I think I take solace in believing that we are connected to the planet and to nature and to what's going on around us. I think before I felt that way, I felt a bit lost because sometimes I would be in certain moods and I wouldn't understand why I was in the mood that I was in. Whereas now that I've started to pay more attention to where the moon is, to astrology and things like that, often my mood is mirrored already. Even if I, a lot of people think when you read horoscopes, you project what you're thinking onto the horoscope. But I've had situations where I've gone back and I've thought about my day and how it's gone, and then read what's going on in the planets and with the moon, and it's actually really accurate. So those of us who want to use it, and those who don't. But what we do at the Nest Space, which is the yoga studio that I run with my partner Vanessa, is that every full moon and new moon, we gather our community together. So we have a free open gathering. It's usually at our space in Greenside in Jersey, but with lockdown, we did it on Insta Live. And this is just a way to gather in community with one another. And just to link ourselves to nature, just to provide gratitude to nature, to provide gratitude to life for all that it's given us, to let go of all of the things that don't serve us, and to set new positive intentions for what's yet to come. So that's what we did in the new moon. We had, usually in our new moon ceremonies, I think we have like 40 to 50 people who come to our space. On our Insta Live, we had close to 200 people from all across the world come and join us, because the moon is also the same regardless of where you are, which is a wonderful thing. It connects us. And so we just had a beautiful gathering on Insta Live, and so we're going to continue to do that. So right now, we are heading into the full moon, and the full moon is kind of seen as a time of letting go. It's kind of like if you imagine spring cleaning your house, sweeping out the cobwebs, sweeping away all the dust, letting go of what doesn't serve you to create space for the future and the new chapter of your life to come in. So that is happening.
Would you say that that mirrors what's happening now? Like we're having this pandemic because the earth is clearing out and making space for a new future.
Girl, it's so crazy when you look at this astrology stuff, because they've actually, I subscribed to a newsletter and they were showing, like, the planets are constantly moving. So maybe some people have heard of Mercury in retrograde. So that's when Mercury, the planet, is at a specific place in correlation to the Earth. But what we realize is that all of the planets are moving around us all the time. And so where the planets are now, today, they've traced it back to other points in history, and it's times where they had the Spanish flu pandemic, it's times where they had the bubonic plague. So it's strange because it seems like whenever the planets align in a certain way, something big happens on a global scale. Exactly. And so the belief is that all of this is happening to try not to, I think there's a belief that this is like a way to, sweep out all the old people and the sick people. And that's not what we're saying at all. It's more like this is about sweeping out systems that didn't need to work, systems that stopped homeless people from finding homes. And now in lockdown, we're finding that actually we can find a solution to problems that we've had for centuries. So, yeah, the belief strategy-wise is that this is a new beginning. It's a time where it's in the masses' hands, the people like us, to start to think about the type of world we want to live in. If it's free education, free healthcare, if it's, trying to topple capitalism or whatever it may be, now is maybe the time. And the full moon on Wednesday is the time to let go of negative self patterns or habits or systems that we use. So yeah, that's what's going on.
Cool. So this is going to be the last question before I let you guys go. I do want to give Juanita a chance to see if we can hear and see you now. And if you can just let us know, what is the one fitness thing that a person can do in their home right now to help them to work out and not feel so alone?
I'm not sure if you're able to hear me, but I've tried to do something now, but the network is so bad. Bodicom says high volume right now. Home and on their phones, network cannot actually manage the pattern.
Okay, so yeah, it's horrible that we can't actually hear Juanita, but Zuchi, I'm gonna come to you for your last word. What is the one thing as a creative that you would say that people should do right now, today, to not feel so alone in this lockdown?
I had a conversation with my mom like like 3 days ago, I think 3 days ago.
Yeah.
She actually called me and she was asking me about, the political side of this thing. Like, what does it mean politically? Because she knows I think about a lot of things, so she was just trying to get my opinion of it. But she's very spiritual and like very about self and self-alignment and stuff like that. She told me like, right now, for me, I'd say, and I agree with her, that's why I'm saying it now. She said it's the perfect time for, re-strategizing and like reanalyzing maybe relationships, and as we said earlier on, relationships and things that are not working for you, things that are not like serving to you, and to restructure maybe a couple of things in your life, and also to just come back and know yourself and work on self and enjoy your company, about the things you want, about what's important to you, so that when everything gets back to normal, you can have a better perspective on what has been going on in your life, or what you were trying to achieve, or like what was not working, but you just didn't know what it was. I think you must use this time to figure out a lot of things and get closer to yourself. And if maybe figuring out a lot of things is working right now to get closer to your dreams, that's another thing that you could be doing. But some people they can still work from home and get things done. But I think it's more of a thing of coming back to just what's important, cutting out things that don't work out, ideas and all those things.
Okay. Yeah, after that, Helen, just with what Zuchi was saying, I think that's so true. I even needed to hear you say that. But for me, it's also about realizing that when you do take a pause and a break, that your work actually flourishes because of that. And I think I'm not sure if you find that, Zuchi, that when the times when you rest and you retreat are actually the times where you're at your most creative and you make your best work.
Yeah, it happens. really happens. Like sometimes you do need a break because missing, not missing, but like time away makes you, you know, appreciate whatever it is that you do, and makes you, you know, want to go back and do it, and then you just feel re-energized and you know you just feel ready to go a bit more.
Dope. I think I'm gonna stop there. Otherwise, all of us can talk forever and ever and ever. But I want to thank all of you, Juanita. If you can still hear us, thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna try and make sure we actually do an episode with you again, and
The
because I do want
network is
to.
so
Yeah, it is bad. So thank you, Juanita, to Anesu, Zuchi, for joining us today. This is our new normal, I suppose,
I'm
and I
gonna
hope,
have to come back again.
yes, we're gonna have you back again. But thank you guys so much for joining us.
Hello.
And obviously, you are all on socials, so obviously you're all up on socials. So we'll make sure we put those up. And if you can, please join the Nest space for the next new moon ceremony. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I will see you very, very soon, hopefully.
Bye.
Cool. Bye. Thank you so much to Zuchi Coke Dope, Juanita Kumalo, and Anesu Mbiju for looking out for us today and for sharing their tips on how to go inside when you can't go outside during this lockdown. So I hope that this episode of The Watch has made you feel confident in your ability to keep or stay well. My name is Helen Herimbi. This has been The Watch, and I will see you tomorrow.